Run it up, then run it back. Run it up, then run it back. Run it up.
I'm just gonna look at Shams for today's show because behind the scenes there's a lot of unprofessionalism going on here, and it's coming from one area and one area only. Everyone, I'd like to introduce the panel today. Stadium insider Shams Charania, professional, always, good posture. This is Chandler Parsons.
We all have good posture, though. I feel like we all have.
I know, mine's is awful. Lou Will's back. Rocking a really nice outfit. I love it. It's very in.
We'll get to that tomorrow.
Sweats, very in. You know what else is in? Tons of money. No, don't look at me. Big giant contract, Shams. This is a doozy.
Erik Spoelstra, his deal was quietly. He was in the last year of his deal, expiring contract. But in Miami, they view Erik Spoelstra as their next Pat Riley. They view him in that same light. He has a chance to be a Pat Riley-esque predecessor in Miami when you think of not only a coach for them, but also potentially personnel, say, down the line. But he has agreed to an 8-year, $120 million contract extension with the Heat. He's one of the best coaches in the league. We know two-time NBA champion with the Heat in 2012 and 2013. He's top 20 already all-time in coaching wins. He's going to be around for decades to come. And so Erik Spoelstra, when it's all said and done, he's going to be up there for the most wins of all time, just because year in, year out, no matter what his talent level is, he gets that Heat team to compete at such a high level. So shout out Erik Spoelstra today.
Was there a particular reason why yesterday? I mean, it just felt like, okay, that's a nice little bit of news, but why not end of the season?
They've been negotiating. I mean, you want to get Erik Spoelstra locked up.
All right.
This is a guy, especially in that organization, they're not looking elsewhere. There's not a changing of the guards there. There's not anywhere else they wanted to go besides getting this deal done. And they've been talking about it for the better part of the last couple months.
Fully guaranteed. That's how coaches roll in the NBA. 8 years. You like it?
I love it.
All right.
I love it. I think coaches get a raw deal most of the time, right? They get fired because a player doesn't like them, and sometimes it's their fault, but sometimes it's a GM protecting their own ass, or it's just they're the fall guy. Erik Spoelstra, he's young. He's one of the best young coaches. He's been around forever. The way from where he came from, how he started to where he is now, and you hear a lot of things about Heat culture. He was a huge part of that. Him, Pat Riley, some of the other front office. So he deserves this. And you heard rumors about it last year and everything he's done. But the way he develops players, the way you don't hear about Pacers culture, you hear Heat cultures, and so, you know what I mean. Like, so this. I'm happy for him because coaches. It's such a players' league. So I love to see a coach like this that's put in the time, put in the work, started from the bottom, and completely got,
There you go. There you go. Finish it. Keep going.
Started from the bottom, now we're here.
Now he's there.
Got to finish it.
Now he is there. I love it.
Another note, I mean, Monty Williams, I think in a lot of ways, Monty Williams set this trend of coaches. He set the bar when he signed that 6-year, $78 million deal with the Pistons. That was a massive deal. That was the biggest contract in coaching history. Then Greg Popovich comes out.
Right.
He signs his 5-year, $80+ million deal. And now Erik Spoelstra, he's getting the most, when you think about 8 years, I mean, you're not 7, not 6, you're going 8 years. You see what I did there, right? Let's call it 8 years
a lot going on
Erik
today.
Spoelstra. That's a long time. Like, he's not going anywhere.
And it's funny because, like you said, it's like free agency for players as coaches now. You see a coach like Monty Williams get a bag. Spo knew he was next. He knew he was getting that. And when you pay a player, when you pay a coach, you're paying them for what they've done, and you're hoping they continue to do that, but you never know. But
he's young, like it's not,
He's going to be there forever. He's going to move when he is done. He's going to go to the front office, like Shams said. He's going to be in Miami for a really, really long time, and he deserves it. He's created this whole system down there where people want to go. If you're a 10-day fringe guy, if you're a second-round pick, I'm hoping that the Miami Heat draft me so they can develop me like they've done with multiple kids.
Where is he, Lou, on your coaching ladder in the NBA right now?
Absolutely one of the best. Just look at the body of work that he's been able to establish down in Miami. Started as a video coordinator, won his first championship as an assistant coach. Then you win 2 more as a head coach. And he's always had this identity where they find these guys in the draft and they kind of somewhat overachievers.
Yeah, they do.
So they've created a great culture there. They've created something that they can call theirs. It's definitely unique. It's different. I haven't played on a team where body fat is such a thing, where being in shape is such a thing. I think that's necessary when you're playing in a city like Miami, Florida, and you got to try to keep
because you're in your bathing suit all the time. Totally.
You got to keep guys focused, and they've been able to have an identity and that culture created where guys are buying into that and they've had a lot of success. And I think a lot of that comes off the back of Erik Spoelstra. So he's definitely one of the best.
One
coaches.
of the best? Like where are we talking? One,
I say
two?
one of the best because
You gotta put Pop
you got to
one.
put Pop
Okay.
in there as one of the recent guys. And then if we want to go historical, obviously you're going to put the Phil Jacksons of the world, the Steve Kerrs of the world in that conversation. So he's right there in that mix.
I like Spo too because he can develop you, he can relate to you as a young guy, but then also we've seen videos of him and Jimmy Butler during a game going at it.
He's not fiery.
He's not backing down from. He doesn't care who you are. If you're not playing and living and breathing their standards, he's going to jump you, and that's how you gain respect in the locker room. And clearly, he does that.
Congratulations. That's a nice
It's a
little
lot of
deal.
money.
I like
Tax
it.
free. And in Miami, tax free.
Yeah, we got to get those taxes in there. It's always sexy talk. All right, we got to get to the first game. Shams was at this game. Did you have fun?
I was.
All right, fair enough.
Great game.
Arms.
Raptors, Lakers. The fourth quarter was nuts. Lakers win this one, 132-131. All 5 Lakers starters had double figures. 4 Raptors starters had over 20 points. Anthony Davis, 41, 11, and 6. LeBron with 22, 12, and 5. Siakam, 25. RJ Barrett had 23, 10, and 5. He seems to be doing well back in his Canadian land. But the Lakers in the fourth quarter had 23 free throws. Fourth quarter alone. And
That's crazy.
Raptors head coach Darko Rajakovic was not happy after the game. There he is. Nailed it.
That's outrageous. What happened tonight, this is completely BS. This is shame. Shame for the referees, shame for the league to allow this. 23 free throws for them, and we get 2 free throws in the fourth quarter. Like, how to play the game. I understand respect for all stars and all that, but we have star players on our team as well. How's possible that Scotty Barnes, who is all-star caliber player in this league, he goes every single time to the rim with force and trying to get to the rim without flopping and not trying to get foul calls. He gets 2 free throws for the whole game. How's that possible? How are you going to explain that to me? They had to win tonight? If that's the case, just let us know so we don't show up for the game. Just give them a win.
What currency is that fine going to be in? Canadian
Yeah,
or
Sean.
American?
Sean,
Wow.
that's-
Wait, those fans are 25 to 35. They're just standing for that. I don't think they're going to go above and beyond for him, but like,
accent for
obviously,
me.
yeah, he
He
went
is
off.
pissed.
That was one of the
I'll
best.
say this.
I mean, there is a disparity of 21 free throws. That is a lot.
It's insane. You can't do 23 free throws in the fourth quarter when both teams are playing physical. They have a lot of downhill drivers in Toronto that are just continue to attack the paint, attack the rim, and they got 2 free throws in the fourth
Come
to
on.
23. He's got a right to be pissed, and I love it as a new young coach that most people don't know his name. You pronounced
Darko Rajakovic?
Yeah, you pronounced it perfectly. I love it. If I'm RJ Barrett and I'm new to this city, and this guy, one of the first games, is just going to bat for us like this, I love it as a player. And he's got a right to be pissed. Again, I understand everyone thinks the Lakers get the whistle. The NBA wants the Lakers to win. This is hard to disagree when the discrepancy is 23 to 2 free throws in the fourth quarter. That's bananas.
Yeah, like Chandler said, if you're RJ Barrett and your coach is fired up like this, it makes it easy to want to play for a guy like that. All seriousness aside,
I know it's
that's
coming.
a hilarious clip.
Dude, he's
mad.
pissed.
That is a
He's
hilarious.
pissed.
I kind of love it.
Love it.
It's like from his eyes, you can tell he's mad.
Yeah,
It's-
I wouldn't mind seeing it again. I wouldn't mind
Just
seeing it again.
roll
That
it
was
on a
thoroughly
loop.
entertaining. But listen, he's right. It's hard to win a basketball game when you allow a team to shoot 23 free throws in the fourth quarter alone. You know, as a fan, you go to that game.
God,
that,
no kidding.
That game's stopping every 10, 15 seconds.
The fourth quarter was.
I was gonna say.
It's a drag. I'm sure it was a drag. You were there.
Yeah, it was
Did
a
you
lot.
stay for that
The fourth
entire
quarter.
thing?
I was there for the whole game. It was a good ending. It was a couple possessions away. I mean, Toronto had a real legitimate chance. That's probably the main reason why the coach went off like that. They had a chance to win that game. They had multiple stretches down the stretch where they were in it. Shout out D'Angelo Russell. You know, he didn't speak to reporters, I guess, for the second straight game, but he's had 6 3-pointers over the last couple games. He was back in the lineup. And AD, obviously, the 40 and 10 game. Anytime Anthony Davis goes off like that, this Lakers team is just totally different.
Yeah, this interview is taking all the credit here, but AD had 41-11, 13 of 17 from the field, and 13 of 14 from the free throw line. So this interview is obviously the headline, rightfully so, but Anthony Davis, they had no answer for this. He dominated the glass, he dominated the paint all night long, and this is the version of him that we love to see, that we just want to keep seeing.
So you guys touched on a bunch of things. We're gonna put a pin in all that because we're gonna get back to the real quick thing I want to ask though about the officiating specifically is because we just saw the NFL's dealing with their issues with officiating. The NBA now, this is the second one of these this week where it seems like we're talking more about officiating than the games themselves. How do you fix that exactly?
I mean, I think that they have to obviously put in the play where they're doing the 2-minute warning, they're correcting the calls, they're kind of, there needs to be some sort of consequence or punishment for these referees because the game is about the players, and you never want to see the whistle blown at the end of a game, especially to this effect where it's 23 free throws in the fourth quarter to 1. That's too much. It's too much of a gap, and it's unfair. How could the Toronto Raptors win this game when they're getting to the line 2 times and they're getting 21 extra opportunities to get points on the board that they're not? So it's definitely not fair. It's not right. Let the guys play. This is what the people came to see. This is what people want. Even as a fan watching it, as media, you don't want to watch that
23 free throws?
It's
No, I don't.
exhausting. It's boring as hell. So I think they gotta swallow the whistle a little bit at the end, but at least make it somewhat balanced.
Yeah, you need some consistency.
Yeah.
Like every summer you're hearing about the rules committee meeting and changing some kind of rule, putting something in, taking something out. We need some consistency, especially for the fan base. It's always something going on when it comes to the referees where you have points of emphasis. One year it's going to be traveling, the next year it's going to be flopping, or it's going to be anti-flopping. Now you're putting take fouls in, and teams are getting free throws. It's hard to keep up with, and I think that's where the frustration comes in as a fan because it's so much turnover and inconsistency with the rules. You don't know what to expect anymore, and I think that's one of the things that the NBA has to fix. The game's never going to be played perfect. It's never going to be refereed perfect.
Right.
So let's stop trying to put all of these things in to make it like that. It's not going to happen. I think it's just unfair for the fans.
And again, as a player, if I'm not getting called for a hand check for 3 quarters, then all of a sudden I'm getting called in the fourth quarter for a hand check. That's not right. You have to be consistent throughout at least those 48-minute game. However you start officiating it, that's how you have to finish it. You can't just make up your mind and pick and choose what players or what time to call a foul.
That's first of all, just watching that many free throws in the fourth quarter seems awful. But you mentioned D'Angelo Russell. He only played the 17 minutes. I know he's not really wanting to talk to anybody about any of it. Are we just waiting for him to get traded at this point?
The Lakers have to be open-minded about him, there's multiple. I mean, if you're going to get in position, if you want a player like a DeJounte Murray, you're going to need to stack up some contracts. And D'Angelo Russell obviously is the guard that probably, you would look at his salary. He's been in and out of the lineup over the last couple weeks. I am curious, does he get another chance to start? How do they view his role? I think that's been a big question around this team is that starting lineup of D'Angelo Russell, Austin Reeves, Jared Vanderbilt, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. They played a total of 3 minutes this entire season. I know Jared Vanderbilt missed time to start the year. Then when he got back, D'Angelo Russell been in and out. But the coaching staff has not gone back to that starting lineup. And that mix went to the Western Conference Finals last year. So I think it'll be interesting to see how the next few weeks go.
Anthony Davis has had a great season so far. Last night specifically, 41, 11, and 6. And I know that George Karl, friend of the show, recently said that Anthony Davis is the real problem for this team and it's not Darvin Ham. And I get it, coaches standing up for coaches, but you can't say that this season, can you?
No, and he's on the floor and he's playing. And when he's playing at an elite level, an all-NBA level. So to put this on Anthony Davis is ridiculous. He's been, him and LeBron, they've both had great years, but he's been the most dominant, consistent player all season long. So that's not fair to do it. It's not fair to give it on Darvin Ham. This is a collective effort where even D'Angelo Russell, I feel like he's getting a lot of the blame. Is he going to get traded? That's frustrating as a player to not know the uncertainty of your future on the team. I'm sure that's why D'Lo's skipping media, not happy. You see, his facial expressions are not great on the court because he doesn't know. He doesn't know if he's going to be there next week. How could he fully buy into what they're doing right now and all he's hearing is that he's about to get traded? So it's a difficult situation, but again, I think this team has the talent. They just need to find the rotations, find the consistency, and move forward like they did last year.
Uh-oh.
Why do we care what George Karl has to say about the Lakers? I'm just,
friend of the show.
He's a friend of the show. He's a guy who
all right,
coached.
cool, but
one of the top all-time, winning coaches.
all of that is great, but as far as this
George
is concerned,
Karl is in when it comes to
as far as this is
in.
concerned, he's known to be somewhat of a troll on Twitter, and
He is good at that.
Yeah, he always takes. To me, it seems like he always takes a position against players.
Yeah.
And that's the part of it that that's concerning to me, and especially when we have to discuss it. I've never seen him say anything positive about any of his former players. Obviously, he hadn't said anything positive about current players. Did he even coach Anthony Davis? Does he have a relationship with Anthony Davis? So why even post this on your social media for it to be discussed? I don't know. I'm not a George Karl fan when it comes to this type of stuff. I'm confused.
It is tough for this because AD. I mean, look, there have been many seasons where you could make this argument about Anthony Davis if you wanted, but he's only missed 2 games.
You know, it's one of those situations. It's like you can pick on your little brother, but somebody else can't.
Right.
Yeah. Maybe some people may agree with this take, but it's like not from you though.
Interesting. All right. So the messenger here is what's bothering you the most. Yeah, I don't even agree with the message necessarily.
I don't
think
agree with
we
the
are
message
tough on
either,
AD a lot, but it's not this one. The Siakam part of things, I feel like we're going to do this all the way up until the trade deadline. Who knows if it keeps going after that? But they seem to be figuring something out here. Is there any chance now that Siakam will stay?
There's always a chance.
Right.
If they're not able to find a trade for Pascal Siakam, if their price is now met, like let's say the Kings, for example. The Kings made an offer. Yep. They got to a certain threshold. Without having an idea, it was unclear whether Pascal Siakam was going to commit to Sacramento long term. That conversation wasn't had. But if you're the Kings, you're negotiating as if you don't know. There's only a certain threshold you're going to get to. And if other teams around the league, if they're not sure Pascal Siakam is going to stay, he's going to go because he's a free agent at the end of the year, what will that final offer be? So, yeah, like if he's still on that roster at the end of the trade deadline, which is less than a month away, February 8th, could the Raptors really only move at that point is letting him go into free agency where you risk losing him for nothing like Fred VanVleet, or you sign him to an extension. So it's definitely in play for him to stay. But whether it's the Kings, the Pacers, there will be a market, I think, over the next few weeks. It'll ramp up. And I think as we get closer to the trade deadline, like the Warriors have a level of interest in Pascal Siakam, from what I'm told. But right now, they need to figure out internally. Draymond Green's on his way back. See how he looks with Andrew Wiggins and Jonathan Kuminga and this group around Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. So right now, there's going to be a little bit of a patient approach from some teams, trying to continue to see what they have.
To me, it's got to be one of the two, right? This team's not like it's in shambles. Like, they have a good young nucleus going forward. You know what I mean? I love a lot of their players. So don't let just Siakam walk. Either trade now, get some assets from Sacramento, Golden State, or sign him. He's young enough to be a building block for this team. And now you add RJ Barrett, you add quickly, you have Scotty Barnes, who's kind of the face of their franchise moving forward. I like Gary Trent, what he can provide, Boucher. So they have the talent there. If anything, just sign Siakam and then start building around this nucleus you have now. Don't just let him walk for nothing.
But does it bother you as a player that you've been talked about as potential trade bait for so long, and now you're like, I'm staying here?
Yeah, it's just part of the business.
I mean,
what does Lou think?
Well, yeah, what do you think, Lou?
Lou's like, F that.
I mean, you're constantly been talked about now for 2 seasons, 2.5 seasons? 3?
2.5.
Like 3 trade deadlines?
Buddy Hield and Miles
Just
been
do
on the
it
block
already.
their whole
Just
career.
rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, just do it already, because it gets taxing after a while.
Yeah.
You know, your name constantly in trade talks, and it's just over your head. It's a black cloud. It's hard to operate like that. It's hard to be successful like that, you know? So if you're going to do it, just do it already.
Yeah, it's month-to-month lease situation as well.
One note on Toronto as well, Jakob Poeltl. They could have used him with Anthony Davis. I had one person around the Raptors say last night, we could have used Jakob Poeltl last night. Because the way AD went off against, a lot of the time in the fourth quarter, RJ Barrett and Scotty Barnes. Those guys, AD's physicality doesn't really line up with their ab. But he's going to be out a few weeks with an ankle sprain. And so that is a tough loss when you think about the Raptors. Can they stay with their winning ways and where are they at with that?
Well, a Raptor that did finally get traded, OG Anunoby, things are going quite nicely for him in New York. Last night, taking on the Portland Trailblazers. Easy, 112-84. Knicks 5-0 since Anunoby got there. 6 of the Knicks players were in double figures. He finished with 23 in 29 minutes. Julius Randle with a 28-7. They're 5-0 since this trade went down. An average margin of victory, about 20 points there as well. I don't know if there are more moves coming. Right now, things look like they're doing all right. Where are we on the Knicks legit contenders?
I think they got better from this trade. And what's interesting is this, and this isn't a knock on RJ Barrett. I just think RJ Barrett and Julius Randle, they just didn't work together.
Right.
They're both mid-range kind of wing scorers. They can post up. They weren't elite shooters. This makes sense. OG is not necessarily that much better of a player than RJ Barrett, but he fits with this system. He gives them a lot more of a presence on the defensive end. He's more of a role player that can play off of Julius Randle, that can play off of Jalen Brunson while still getting you 20 to 25 points. So I think this is a great trade. This could be like a Kings-Pacers trade where this works out for both. The Toronto Raptors got 2 really good players. I said it last week. I think the Knicks are going to miss quickly more than R.J. Barrett just because of the fit and the system. But I like it. And OG, again, personnel-wise, it just makes sense. It provides more of a simple option. It gives them a way better defense. And he seems to be meshing well. And he's just one of those guys where you can plug him into any system and he can do well. He's a versatile guy. So I love it. They're clearly winning. I don't know if this puts them in contender talk.
Right.
But they're not going to be an easy out. And I love the makeup. Hartenstein's had a great year.
Yeah.
DiVincenzo's had big games. So their role players are also stepping up. McBride now is playing more confident ever since he got his extension. So I like what they did. I like it for both teams.
What do you think about what Jalen and Julius Randle have done? I know that we started the season with they can't be 1 and 1A, 1A, 1B. It's just not going to be enough, whatever. Something's happening here, though, where it's transitioning. The team's playing differently. It's more fluid. Has anything changed your mind from what you've seen?
Yeah, they're rolling. I think OG gives them an opportunity to play with the floor being a little bit spaced out now. They got areas to operate, and it's working for them. I still don't think they're title contenders. I think the East still goes through Boston or it's going to go through Milwaukee. Those are still going to be the 2 top dogs in there. But this New York Knicks team look like they got something to say, and they're gonna be a tough out.
All right, let's play GM for a second. You're Leon Rose. What are you adding, if anything?
I think he's good at this point.
Yeah, I mean, now you have your core, right? Do you still shop around and go for a Donovan Mitchell, go for something like that, and really get that star player? And I think
Why would you add Donovan Mitchell, though? Okay, aside.
I just think it's the Knicks. It's New York City. You want to try to get the best possible player.
With Jalen Brunson, does that not sort of feel like you're doubling up a little bit? How does that work?
It's different. Like Jalen Brunson's great, and I think he's great. He's not.
I don't like
he's
it.
not an all. He's not an all NBA player.
I vote no.
Like
Save that for the summer. Let this group ride it out. See what they can accomplish.
Now at
Save
least you have your core, you have your pieces. You made the big move. I think R.J. Barrett again. It just never made sense with this personnel, with this roster. Now you have something. You have something. They're committed to the defensive end. They have a nice, deep, versatile team. I love their bench. Like we talked about Hartenstein. They're going to miss Mitchell Robinson. That's 10 and 10 that they could really use right now. But I like what they did. And again, like Lou said, I don't think there's any urgency to make a move. But again, it's Leon Rose. It's the Knicks. They're always going to try and get the top dog, the top free agent.
Listen, you got 2 guys averaging 27 and 28 right now. You're going to add a 3rd guy that's going to want to average 27 and 28. That ball is going to get sticky.
And mess up the system.
Yeah, it's going to mess up everything. They're starting to roll. 5-0 since. I think the underrated thing that we heard was all of these wins are by double digits.
Yep.
So they're rolling.
20.
Yeah, I don't shake that tree right now.
The Mitchell Robinson, fan favorite. People obviously are missing him being out there. He's missing being out there because he's all emo on his social media, and it's kind of hilarious. What are we looking at? Any chance for playoffs?
The Knicks are going into this expecting he's going to be done for the season.
Okay.
And so we'll see if the league grants them their disabled player exception of almost $8 million. That's to be determined. The league's doctors are reviewing that, which would give them another asset. But they've got 8 first-round picks to trade. They have Evan Fournier's expiring contract that they can use in trades. And I think that is one appealing part of the roster right now is you have an expiring contract, you have a bunch of draft picks. Can you get a guard to come off your bench and play a playmaking role on this team? Because like you said, Michelle, does a Donovan Mitchell, DeJounte Murray, do guys like that make sense on this roster? Because they need the ball in their hands. DeJounte Murray has shown he can play with the ball, as we know Donovan Mitchell can as well. But if Jalen Brunson is your guy, you probably want to keep him in that role. And then at worst case scenario, if you want to bring a playmaker coming off your bench to fill that Emmanuel quickly role, I think that's where the Knicks are looking at right now.
Yeah.
Go get a Jordan Clarkson. Go get someone like that.
Yeah, we vote no on those other 2 ideas. I don't know if anyone's listening, but that's what we're doing. We're taking a quick break here. When we come back, we'll be joined by Earl Watson. Standing by. There he is. Good background. Run it back.
Run it up, run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back.
Earl Watson, the Bulldog. We never quit, we never fail. Earl for 3. Yes!
He's a 13-year NBA vet. He coached the Suns. He coached the Raptors. Earl Watson joining us right now. Earl, first of all, good morning. Thank you for the time. We're going to jump right in because you were with the Raptors when OG Anunoby was there, obviously, and he is doing quite nicely in his new home in New York. Were you shocked that the trade finally happened, and what do you think about what he's done so far?
I wasn't shocked that the trade happened. I knew the Raptors had to make moves. But what OG brings to the Knicks, I don't think RJ could possess. There's 2 different skill sets. OG is a great 2-way player. And what OG is in the late clutch, and you'll see it in the playoffs, he's a big-time three-point shot maker. So anytime we would play games, we'd be in the clutch, last 3 minutes of the fourth quarter, he comes up with big-time threes.
Earl, who do you like that trade for most, though? When you think about the Knicks, they get OG Anunoby, who you know very well. On the Raptors side, I saw them last night, RJ Barrett, Emmanuel Quickly. Who do you like, for this trade?
I like the trade for both because RJ fits the timeline of Scotty Barnes. We understand that's his team moving forward. Even though the Pascal Siakam, Saga's taking over the NBA. But for the Knicks, I think the Knicks get a player, and people, I'm about to put on my coaching lens. In the last, OG can guard a 5 for 3 to 5 minutes, not an entire game. So in the last 5 minutes of a game, 3 minutes of a game, you can put OG on a 4 and he can switch on to a point guard. He can switch on to a center. He can switch on to a 3, whoever you want him to switch on to, and he does a great job just locking down that defender one-on-one defense.
Coach, the trade deadline is less than a month away. There's a lot of rumors, a lot of talk always, but in particular on Pascal Siakam. What's your take there? Do you think they should move him? And do you think he's a 1-2 option on a championship team?
I believe so. I think whoever he gets moved to, he's going to be a 2 option because they pretty much already have their 1 option, unless it's the Pacers. It'd be interesting to see Halliburton and Pascal down the stretch. Because I think what the Pacers is missing is a closer of size who can get to the free throw line, get to the rim, or create a pass. And what Pascal is excellent at is patience in the paint. He's excellent in this new NBA era of being patient in the middle of the paint to force rotations, to kick out for 3-pointers or, dunker passes for dunks and assists. And people kind of minimize his assist game, but he's up there with Jokic. He's up there with Giannis. He's up there with Luka as far as assisting throughout the paint.
Yeah. Oh, the Raptors, they look like they're moving away from Siakam and they're building around Scotty Barnes. Do you think that's a good idea? Do you think that's sustainable?
I think when you talk about is it sustainable, Lou, you know this, we all know this as players. The timeline of players, and I never understood this, is never with skill. It's only with year and age. So when a team is built, they are built around the year of the player. If the player is a younger player, they'll put younger players around them to grow. And I think the reverse of it is the Lakers. If we remember the Lakers, Kobe was so young winning championships with vets because his skill was at that level. So it's a different lens that you look at it through when you talk about management making moves and also preparing money to pay Scotty Barnes.
When Nick Nurse was let go, there were reports of dysfunction in the locker room, like what's going on. You were there. Did you see any of that?
I just think it was a tough year if you think about it. It's the same roster. They eventually made moves with that same roster. I think when coaches are let go in that area and they bring in a new coach, the first 25 games is going to tell you if the coach that was previously there was effective or was it just a roster move. I think after the lens of Nick Nurse, you see management take moves that can allow them to kind of advance their roster in a younger era, a younger phase throughout Scotty Barnes, moving OG, potentially moving Pascal, and it's the shift of the team.
You were also the interim coach and then the full-time head coach of the Phoenix Suns when Devin Booker was a rookie. Did you see the signs back then that he had this ability that we're seeing right now where he's transformed into a superstar?
Shams, you remember back then people thought I was crazy for playing Booker and starting Booker and believing in Devin. And I had a couple of quotes saying he'd be the best player in the Phoenix Suns history, and people thought because of my age and inexperience of coaching, I was just not ready for that role. Devin Booker possessed a couple of things for me early on, and players understand this. He had a maturity to his game and his age, right? Devin is a mature, younger player. And then he had a will and a skill that he could shoot, but also had a work ethic that matched it. And the moment I knew Devin Booker was going to be that guy is when I was an interim. I was a development coach. Devin Booker wasn't playing, and at the end of every practice, he would play everyone who was staying one-on-one. He would beat them, and as he would walk off the court, he would yell, "I don't understand why I'm not playing." And I was like, this kid is different. This kid is different. He had this fire and the tenacity he had that would go up into people's faces, such as PJ Tucker in practice. And there'd be some physical altercations, but the kid never backed down. And that's when we knew he would be great.
Yeah, Coach, with Book, you believed in him. You said he could be the greatest son of all time. Is it true that you wanted to actually start him, but the organization was stuck on Brandon Knight at the time?
Wow.
So I guess I did. That was the beginning of the end for me. I didn't understand politics and coaching.
So yes, that's true.
So here's what I didn't understand as a young man. I was 34 when I became the head coach. So this is what I straight from playing. This is what I didn't understand is that they had paid Eric Bledsoe and Brandon Knight $60 million each. That's a ton of money in the backcourt. And here I am as a new coach and Brandon Knight's new deal, saying that Brandon Knight isn't better than the rookie we just drafted, Devin Booker. and then here I am going into Boston. I don't think I helped them get 70 because we only had 8 players available. I mean, we all knew who was going to shoot the ball. It wasn't going to be the 3 G League players we had coming off the bench. And then I'm getting Devin 70 in Boston with like 45 seconds remaining. And then that entire, I mean, think about it for players. We are taught to show no mercy on the other side, no matter the score. We play until the buzzer ends, right? Well, in coaching, I guess there's a coaching code that I never knew about is we kind of like don't let guys reach that peak. And if the game is pretty much over. I'm a player's coach. I'm like, the reporter asked me, was like, was you trying to let him get 70? I said, no, hell no. I was trying to get into overtime and get him 80. Like, what are you talking about? I was going to settle for the 70.
Wait, you know what? I never thought about that. There's like unwritten rules for coaches, but if you came straight from playing, how would you have ever known any of these rules? That's just not how it works.
I mean, I wouldn't have made it in the league if I was that nice and kind to people. I would have been out in training camp. And players that played in the league understand this. Kobe could have got 80 a bunch of times, and we never knew why Phil would just not let him play the fourth. And I guess I wasn't paying attention to that part.
You guys had the 4th pick in the 17 draft. The Celtics took Tatum at 3. But if he had still been up there, is there? I like pretending like what could have been a world in which we would have seen Tatum and Booker, and that would have been one of the greatest duos of all time.
I actually got a phone call from Tatum and his agent maybe a year or two ago, and they were talking about that draft, and they were talking about how I understood the landscape of future draftees just because I had so many AAU teams for so long. And I understood recruiting in the NBA was about to be the same as college because now everyone can pay, right? Players coming out in this era, in this generation, want to be developed quickly. They want to play. They want to put their game on the line. So instead of me hosting Jason Tatum at the facility, I took him out of the facility and we just got in my car and we visited every player at their house, almost like a college recruiting trip. And we talked about the vision. We talked about how it was just, I didn't understand this, but I have such a good relationship with players. I could just call them and tell them I'm coming over. I don't know how many players had a head coach come to their house in the summer and chill and watch TV and talk basketball with a potential draftee. But I took them around and I told them the vision. And I told them we would be very legendary to have 2 light-skinned killers on the court at the same time. Talk about Devin Booker and him together. I just saw the vision. He had the greatest pre-draft workout I've ever seen in my life. He started with ball handling. And then he went straight to the corner 3. And I've been watching pre-draft workouts since I played. I would just go and watch. I've always been like intrigued with coaching and drafting and the other side of basketball. He ripped off 40 straight threes, and then ownership stopped him. I thought he could have got at least to 80 or 100. And after he ripped off the 40, I was like, what else do we need to see? This is over. This is the guy we need. He's like a taller version of Devin Booker, like put one on each wing, teach Bledsoe how to be a pointer and get a younger point guard and just ride off into the development sunset of that.
Isn't it fun to think about what could have been?
Man.
What we would have seen at that point?
Current times, the Suns are struggling with the big 3, 2 and 4 so far with those guys. What do you think the issues are with that group and trying to find that rhythm?
I mean, you two guys kind of know this. It's like, I'm surprised no one had brought this up yet. I think arguably Devin Booker has been the best shooting guard in the NBA for a couple of seasons, right? And when you have a young shooting guard who is the best in the league at his prime, in my opinion, I'm not getting this from Devin, even though I have relationships with these players. As a basketball lens, why would you move the best in the league to a different position? Why would you move Devin Booker before his prime when he's the elite before his prime into a point guard role? The minute we do that, we understand the NBA it's a rhythm game. You have to find your rhythm within the offense. Every player has a rhythm that's the fit, and it's up to the coaches to find those rhythms to make that team better. And I think the biggest adjustment for them is to go get a point guard. move Devin back into his natural fit, put Brad on the other wing, and KD can play the 4. He can play, positions where in this league he can play the 4, and that'd be a tough matchup for any 4. And I think they have the advantage. But as far as setting up the team, assisting, keeping Devin mind on scoring instead of balancing the game, I think is their biggest challenge.
Earl, I said this exact thing yesterday on the show. I'm like, you got one of the best shooting guards in the league, and then your only point guard on the roster is the kid Goodwin. I'm like, go get a vet point guard at least to set the table and let these 3 guys eat.
I mean, you guys know if we played against Kobe in his prime and he moved to the point, we'd be ecstatic. Like, yes, let him set up the offense, right?
Right.
And just deny him when it comes back to we have so many schemes. But Kobe on that wing with intent to score put fear into every team.
Earl, you were also in Seattle when the Supersonics got Kevin Durant in 2007. What was your first impression of KD when he arrived at Seattle?
KD was just a young kid, man, who wanted to play basketball. He's a gym rat. I call him DC Slim. All he wanted to do was stay in the gym, work on his game, and play video games with his neighbors. And I thought it was really cool that before games, I was like, KD, so what'd you do before the game? He's like, a couple of my neighbors came down. We played we played video games, and I just came straight to the gym. I'm like, those kids had the greatest experience with one of the greatest players they ever played. And the evolution of KD going into OKC with Russ joining and then James ended up coming, that was a big 3 before we knew what big 3s were organically. And if that 3 would have stayed together, I think they would have been ahead of Golden State as far as winning championships and being developed.
Man.
Earl, former UCLA Bruin, Jaime Jaquez. A lot of people hadn't heard of him really much. He's having an unbelievable start of the season. Some people are saying he's in the hunt for Rookie of the Year. Obviously, Chet, I think, has it on lock. But did you see this coming as a former Bruin yourself?
Yeah, I did actually. I'm close with the family, and convincing them to stay was a big part of my role as far as coaching changing. What I told them is UCLA is going to always be UCLA. You're going to always have a great opportunity, a great chance of education to develop and meet the smartest people in the world, especially on the court and off the court. And what Jaime was, if you pull up his high school tapes, Jaime was a wing. And Jaime, to me, always had this shifty awkwardness, footwork to his game that was kind of like on a perimeter in high school, similar to Ginobili, the Euro steps, the awkward finishes. But what you see now is Jaime's footwork in the post, jump stopping, playing off 2 feet, finding angles, making the extra pass. He's a basketball savant, but his parents also played basketball, and his mom is the passionate one. She's the one in the stands cussing him out. So I think being with the Heat is perfect for him because he has that at home, that same mentality, that same accountability, and kind of like that edge.
And now apparently he's in the dunk contest, which surprised me. Does he have that kind of bounce to compete with the, Mac McClung? He's doing it again too.
I mean, as we all had a different bounce in high school. As we got older, we kind of picked up certain weight and, too many games. Behind me, had some stuff to him. He won a high school dunk contest at Sierra Canyon with the best LA, athletes and, talent of that time. And Kenyon Martin Jr.'s son, Kenyon Martin Jr. was in the dunk contest. So we know KJ can jump. Right. So for Jaime to beat him in high school, I'd like to see what he pull out in the All-Star game.
How's that taste, Chandler? That sounds legit.
Can't wait.
All right, that's going to be real. UCLA pickup games. I would imagine there are some stories. Do you have any that you could share?
I've never seen Magic Johnson lose to the back-to-back Lakers. Everyone knows Magic is legendary in pickup, and he would bring his same 5 every time. He'd play against Kobe, Shaq, Robert, D-Fish, whoever else came with him. And Magic never lost. When Magic got game point, everything was a foul. If he missed a jump shot, it was a foul. If it was a turnover, it was a foul. So you just knew you wasn't going back the other way. And people never challenged him because Magic is the initiator of those pickup games. When he came in '79 to UCLA to LA, he wanted to develop and play throughout the summer. He was a young player, and he just started that, and Rico took it to the next level. But seeing Kobe in there and seeing, if you guys remember, Chauncey at one point was bouncing from team to team. Chauncey used the UCLA summers to develop his game and get better, and Magic was an influence to all of us. And just seeing Kobe go from like 7:30 in the morning from the gym and the track, 5:30 from the track and gym, to the pickup games at 3:30, and that's when we knew Kobe was just a different type of player.
That's awesome.
You played alongside Darren Williams, Jason Williams, Russell Westbrook, Dame Lillard. Who was your favorite running mate in the backcourt?
GP, Baron Davis.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, we were all the way back. I say that's why I picked up full court, Lou, because they used to bust me up every day of practice. So I knew I wasn't going to face anyone that long in a game that I did in 2 or 3 hour practices. But Gary Payton was the most unique. What Gary taught me early in my career is he knew every team's offense and shoot around before it was even given to us. So Gary had this persona of just like, I just play, I just hoop. I'm not a basketball savant. But when we got into our shoot around, he kind of ran shoot around. He told us what was going to happen. He prepared us for every play, every option, 3 or 4 options within the play. And he had the rotations down. So to see how he learned that really created my basketball mind to be more than just a player. And that's when I started to see the game more as a coach, because GP already had that vision.
Earl, you got any good, any good white chocolate stories? I know that's my guy in Orlando, Gator Great.
Gator.
I know one time, he picked me up from the gym one time, and just from riding with him to the gym, I almost failed a drug test. And I didn't even take one hit, and I almost failed a drug test just riding with this fool.
Hey, I love Jay Will. He was also my teammate in Memphis with Brevin Knight. So I've been in point guard heaven, being even tutored and mentored by Magic in college. But I don't think Jay Will would mind me telling this story.
Uh-oh.
And I don't know what words I can use on this show, so y'all might have to bleep me out.
Feel free.
Let it rip.
Let it rip? Feel free? Okay, here we go. Y'all remember when UB Brown retired and Fratello came, right, to Memphis? Mm-hmm. Right? Fratello became the coach, UB stepped down. Fratello didn't want Jay Will to cross over and shoot threes anymore. and Jay Will in the middle of practice was like, damn, Mike, if I can't do that, homeboy, what am I good for? So the entire game, Jay Will would just dribble real fast to a player and do the 2-dribble backup dribble. Y'all remember that dribble we taught when we were young?
I remember
and
that,
he was
too.
doing it on purpose. He was just hopping around and hopping around and hopping around. I'm like, damn, dude. I'm yelling like, yo, we got to win the game. Like, forget what he's talking about. Fuck that. Shoot the threes. This is what we do. So it went back and forth for a long time, and I think Fratello finally gave in because we were so young. We needed Jay Will to be special. But if you put Jay Will in this generation of basketball, where it was, point guard driven, perimeter driven with 3-point shot making, he would be even better than he was back then.
Mm-hmm. That's just knowing Fratello too. That's just a fun interaction. I love it. Earl, thank you so much for the time this morning. We appreciate it. Love all the good stories. And hopefully talk soon.
Thanks, Earl.
I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
And we'll be back.
Run it up, run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back, yeah. Run it up, run it back, run it up.
A little, you buying that? This is a crazy movie film like video, right? Because LeBron just celebrated. I don't know if you guys know. His 39th birthday, and it was a big one. It was at Hyde Sunset. Anyone was
Chandler
there.
knows a little bit about
Beyonce,
Shout out Frankie Delgado.
Jay-Z, Kevin Hart, Adele.
I think we got this footage from Chandler.
It's very beautiful
Check out the
footage.
vibes.
Are you buying that he throws the best parties?
I mean, it looks extravagant. He gets
does.
cool people to come. I don't know if it's the most fun party I'd ever want to
yeah.
go to.
Chandler, that's cap. These are good parties, man.
Listen, I've never been to one.
I mean, the costumes are great.
Does he own Lobos Tequila or no?
He does.
I'm assuming yes. Yes.
Listen, I think it's a great venue. Shout out Frankie Delgado. Hyde has been my club for the last 10 years in LA.
Club.
I mean, it's
Never
awesome.
invited us.
Look, it's hilarious.
Yeah, I know.
Kevin Hart,
He knows better.
Rich Paul. Yeah, I mean, it looks like, it looks like a lot of fun. I've just never attended one. I've attended some pretty awesome
I'll
parties.
take you, bro. We out.
You got me in?
Yeah, I got
Wait, would you do the costume thing, or are you too cool to
No,
to
you have
partake?
to.
I'm getting dressed to the nine.
Okay,
You have to.
okay. I did
We have a
not-
term we call we having it on.
Yeah, we're going to have
Is that
it
like
all.
standing on your business?
Yep.
No cap.
We're gonna make a list of all of the slang.
In
Yeah.
cool phrases. Okay, good. Well, I got that for tomorrow. Would you take Shams, by the way?
Absolutely.
Shams would like
Shams
that.
got to have it on though.
Shams space.
Come on, Lou.
You
What
got
are
to
you
have
talking
it
about
on.
right now?
Yeah, we rolling though.
If it comes to fits, I think I don't know how long I'll stay.
Yeah,
but,
we out.
Oh, I really want this
We'll
to happen
pull
now.
up. We'll pull up.
I like it. I like this.
I like this idea. Good luck. CJ McCollum said that he always plays well in Sacramento because he's still angry they didn't draft him in 2013.
What?
That's a long grudge.
That's the thing.
Aren't you buying that then?
Absolutely. Especially if you wanted to get drafted by a team and they don't draft you.
He did not want to get drafted to Sacramento.
He said he's angry they didn't draft him. I don't know why he wanted to get
Right.
drafted. I don't know why. I don't know what was going on in 2013 in Sacramento, but yeah, this is a thing. So I'm buying it until he's done. He's gonna try to kick their ass every time.
I like it.
Players definitely hold a grudge for sure.
That's how I felt about the Hawks.
Yeah,
what
you're
I
salty.
end up playing for.
You're just
twice.
like us.
Yeah, you're salty.
I like
I mean, this is 10 years ago. Let it go.
No, you know what? I feel like you have 82 games a year, whatever it
Chandler,
takes.
Memphis still on your head right now.
Yeah.
It's never going
There's
away.
a bounty, dude.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, you're a marked man. And
Never
You
go
are
there.
too now. Guilty by association,
Totally
brother.
fair. Yeah. Dennis Schroeder reportedly wanted to, quote, lead his own team. He was very unhappy when he started coming off the bench. You buying that he could lead a team?
No.
Okay.
He never has been a number one guy. I think he's a good player. I think he's solid. He plays really good in the Olympics and the World Cup for Germany, but no, he's a solid role player. He can go and get you a bucket. He can score the basketball. He's played big-time roles on really good teams, but to lead a team,
That's kind of big.
not seeing it.
Not seeing. All right, Lou. Bogdan Bogdanovic was voted best player in Serbia by the Basketball Federation of Serbia. Their second best, Nikola Jokic.
That makes no sense.
I am buying.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. Are we
not
confused?
the
Just some
Jokic
former teammate ties right here.
We're talking about two completely different leagues, guys. We're talking about two different positions.
Hold up.
Listen, in the NBA, I am a sixth man. In the summertime in Atlanta, I am the very best basketball player they have ever seen. So completely different things.
This is a biased opinion.
And the funny and is super biased. Bogey is my guy, but a lot of people might not know they're like this tight. So this is probably funny to both of them.
I bet.
That the Joker is ranked number 2. So I'm buying it. The Serbians, they know something that we don't know.
He's ranked number 1 in the world, but 2 in Serbia.
Yeah, he's no good in this neighborhood.
I actually kind of love that. It makes it even better now.
Understood.
I love it.
Senses of humor. We're taking a quick break. We will be back. Run it back. Boom, boom.
I need y'all to get my boy Shams into the NBA All-Star Celebrity Game. I've been hearing nothing but good things. I saw a little bit of footage. I think he meets the criteria to be able to get into that game. And he said he's going for the MVP. So let's get my boy in that game.
Cool. Was Fred VanVleet in a elementary school? Well. A hashtag has been born.
We're gonna get you there, Sean.
We're going to get you there, buddy.
And you,
I mean, if Fred said it,
Really,
if Fred
dude?
and Lou
Can you
will
see
said
it?
it.
Is that invisible ink?
Let Shams play. Yeah.
can we get a Sharpie?
Can we get a
I'm
real-
stunned that this is came over here.
Well, I mean, look, Van Vliet is in. He knows what it almost looks like. Let's Ham play, but that's funny to me.
Ham.
What is your game like? Are you prepared?
I've seen some clips.
Yeah, I mean, I can shoot.
Okay.
That's all I have in my repertoire.
Are you a D3 guy?
I can't say I play defense. I stopped
I don't
playing
play in
defense.
defense.
I don't
You know
play
what?
in defense.
It's you don't want to play in a celebrity.
It's
game
optional.
defense.
You
Yeah,
said
yeah.
you like playing defense.
Yeah, but that's why I'm like.
Listen, I'm not saying that I'm like the best. I mean, I didn't play.
Who's
past
on your
high
hit
school.
list, Shams?
But
Who's a
this is-
celebrity? Who's a celebrity you want to
I
cook?
could definitely make multiple 3-pointers in the celebrity.
Really?
For sure.
Short shorts, long shorts. What are we doing?
Mid.
Mid. Okay.
Like, it's not super long. It's like right here. It's
Gotta
like,
be
Are you
short.
an ankle? Are you
no,
an ankle
Chandler,
soft
see, I
guy?
can't wear up to here. It's like right
I
here.
like skimpy.
Of course you do.
So yours ends right here.
1000%. I used to have my game shorts
That's
tailored.
ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
What's wrong with you?
Yo, Lou's like up to here.
Yeah, I like
Lou
long-
went down. Lou went
Comfort.
down.
I like long shorts.
So this is a hashtag that we are now all going to be using. This is our goal in life, and
Let's
I can
show
die
us a
happy.
life goal.
Yes, I
Life
can
goal.
die happy
Big
if I
life
see you
goals
out.
over here.
I want to have
We'll
a
be
reason
courtside,
to watch
Sean.
the celebrity game because
We'll be courtside watching the game.
If you play on this, we're going.
in Indianapolis.
You guys are
Absolutely.
Oh, it's in. I actually got to clean my garage that weekend. Damn it.
On second thought.
We'll be back tomorrow.
How did you come over?
Run it up, run it back, yeah. Run it up, then run it back, yeah, yeah. Run it up, run it back.